become death, the destroyer of worlds.
In the midst of World War II, at the dawn of a new era, the Axis and Allied powers were locked in a deadly struggle. Scientists were racing against time, trying to develop a new weapon to tip the balance. A covert gathering of brilliant minds assembled in the desolate New Mexican desert. The Manhattan Project, a super-secret mission, was set up to create a weapon of mass destruction. The world watched as the American government attempted the greatest scientific gamble of all time. The world would never be the same. The year is 1941. World War II had been raging on for 2 years and caused millions of deaths to both civilians and soldiers. There had been rumors that Nazi Germany was in the making of a weapon of mass destruction. Once the rumors spread throughout the world, Franklin D. Roosevelt gave the go-ahead for the Manhattan Project. The Manhattan Project was established in 1942 for the purpose of creating an atomic bomb, and to get there before the Nazis did. In late September 1942, General Leslie Groves was placed in charge of the Manhattan Project, and joining him was physicist named J. Robert Oppenheimer. Now Oppenheimer and General Groves had to choose a spot to test and produce the first atomic bomb. There were many suggestions. However, after a while they came upon a site in New Mexico. Specifically, the place where they settled was called Los Alamos, New Mexico, also known as Project Y. The construction of Los Alamos was completed in 1943, costing them $7 million. And now, Project Y had begun on making the atomic bomb. In the early years of Los Alamos, the scientists were at first sketching ways on how the bomb would look. Robert Serber created 2 ways. One way was a gun-type design, and the other was an implosion design. Overall, the implosion design was chosen because this sphere would be surrounded by a heavy tamper that would reflect neutrons back into the active volume and restrain the explosion for a few crucial moments, thereby increasing the efficiency of the blast. But in the end, both designs were used, one in the Trinity Test and the other in the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In 1944, Nazi Germany had seemed to be losing the war, and so this made Leslie Groves believe that Germany could surrender by summer of 1945. Once Oppenheimer had realized, he acted quickly to maximize on all efforts to make the implosion. In July 1944, Oppenheimer reorganized the Los Alamos employees to prepare the way for the final development. Robert Batcher took over Gadget Division to experiment with the implosion and design of the bomb. Kistiakowski led X Division in work of the explosive components. Hans Bethe continued to head up theoretical studies. And Parsons now focused on the overall bomb construction and delivery. Finally, after years of construction and hard work, the atomic bomb was made. Before the atomic bomb could be tested, doubt remained of its effectiveness. Many had doubts that it would even work at all. On July 14, 1945, the uranium bomb Little Boy made its trip into the Pacific without it being tested. A plutonium bomb test seemed vital to both confirm its novel implosion design and to gather nuclear explosions in general. Many other plutonium bombs were in the pipeline and would be available in the next few weeks. So, the decision was made to test one of these. The name Trinity came from a poem made by John Donne. The site took place in a remote corner of the Alamo Gordo bombing range, known as Jornada del Muerto, or Journey of Death, 210 miles south of Los Alamos. Preparations lasted from May to June and were completed in the beginning of July. Many bunkers were located 10,000 yards away, attempting to measure the aspects of the reaction. More specifically, the scientists would determine symmetry of the implosion and amount of energy released. The biggest concern was control of the radioactivity the test device would release. Soon, the test would begin on July 16, 1945, 4 a.m. However, due to some rainy weather, Leslie and Oppenheimer pushed it back to 5:30 a.m. Now, the countdown had begun. At precisely 5:30 a.m. Monday, July 16, 1945, the first atomic bomb was set off, as well as starting the nuclear age. The success of the Trinity Test meant that both designs of the bombs, plutonium and uranium, can now be used against Japan in the war. On July 26, 1945, just 10 days after the Trinity Test, the U.S. government decided to give a Potsdam Declaration to the Japanese, calling for the unconditional surrender of Japan. 2 days later, Japan rejected the Potsdam Declaration, and so they gave the U.S. no choice. On August 6, 1945, the U.S. dropped an atomic bomb on the city of Hiroshima. Between 43,000 to 166,000 people are believed to have died. 3 days later, on August 9th, a second atomic bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. Over 80,000 people are believed to have died, and the ones who survived, they speak of atrocities.
うちね、焼け跡の中に人間の形でした。で、あれも崩れてしまった。
The atomic bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima was called Little Boy, a uranium gun-type bomb that exploded with about 13 kilotons of force. The bomb dropped on Nagasaki was a 21-kiloton plutonium device known as Fat Man, and the total number of deaths between the bombings would end in 317,000. But there are many theories on how much the total amount actually was. When the Trinity Test became a success, it proved that atomic weaponry can be used to end World War II. And so, as you know, on August 6th and August 9th, the bomb was dropped on two Japanese cities, Nagasaki and Hiroshima. A few weeks later after the bombings, Japan surrendered on September 2, 1945, ending the war. At this point in time, Oppenheimer had realized the dangers of the atomic bomb. He wrote a letter to the Secretary of War, saying that they should not continue working on more bombs, that it could cause the destruction of the world. But they didn't listen. Then, in 1949, during the Cold War, the Soviet Union had created their own atomic bomb, worrying the United States because the U.S. no longer had a nuclear monopoly. Later, throughout the decades, the United States and the Soviet Union had an arms race, meaning that the two superpowers were fighting for who could make the most and most powerful bombs. Now, in 2023, ever since the Trinity Test, the threat of nuclear war has never been higher, with the Russia-Ukrainian war and the Israel-Hamas war. The Trinity Test is a turning point in history because it proved that atomic weaponry can be used to end World War II. It marked the atomic age, caused other countries such as the Soviet Union to make their own weapons of mass destruction. And finally, ever since that day, nuclear warfare has been the highest threat to ending humanity. This topic is important to history because soon after the Trinity Test and bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Oppenheimer realized that he not only gave the world the power to destroy their enemies, but to destroy the world as well as themselves. A theory can only take you so far.